a producer. Let me make sure the sound's coming through first. Hold on. Come on.
Naeem.
I was just going to say that. Just go. Naeem. Come on. There it is. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Naeem. Get in here, Naeem. All right, Mr. Producer. We got all them hoes. It looks so clean now. I have the overlay over the Zoom with the YouTube, the Instagram. I gotta start putting your socials on here too. I can put it right up top. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Next stream, you guys are gonna see the Bauer socials over the top, so you can follow him and get his content too. All right.
Oh,
Yeah, that's definitely some.
I'm pulling up the stream now. Let me look at this.
Yeah, peep it. See how fire that looks. So at the top, I can just put your socials.
Oh, that's nice.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we're back and we're on fucking fire. Naeem, get in here, Naeem. So, when will the Bitcoin manipulation stop or end? That's the title of the stream. So, that's the question. What do we think, Bauer? What are you thinking is going on right now with Bitcoin and ETH?
Yeah, I mean, someone with a lot of money is trying to get as many good entries as possible. I think I was listening to another stream this morning and they made a really good point. They were saying that pretty much anyone that's going to capitulate on their altcoins this season at this point has pretty much done so. So if you're going to capitulate, you're pretty much already out of the market. So I feel like for me and you, like as far as delusional optimism goes, like we're about as optimistic as you can be. And I know that, yeah, even this morning, like last night, right before I was about to fall asleep, I got a notification. I heard my phone buzz and I pulled it up and it said ETH is down like 7% to like 3,090. I was thinking in my head last night before I went to bed, I'm like, again, like what the fuck is going on? So, yeah, I feel like anyone that's gonna capitulate already has, which is good. And I feel like now, this whole DeepSeek thing with the AI coming out of China's tanked Nvidia price like 15% this morning. And it's just the timing of it, like the fact that it happens at night over the weekend when the markets are illiquid,
Yep.
no one's paying attention. It's just it's so planned, it's so intentional. And to me, it's just a distraction. It's just getting everyone to pay attention to that, gives it kind of an explanation for manipulation to happen. And then while everyone's focusing on DeepSeek, market makers are behind the scenes manipulating the hell out of everything.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think we're probably pretty close to the end of the shenanigans for crypto, hopefully. I know we have FOMC. I believe it's on Wednesday.
Yep.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like everything's pretty much priced in. I mean, unless Jerome wants to bang out everybody again.
Yeah.
I think what he's going to say is probably already pretty priced in. And I think that in February, we should be looking to run back February 2024 and have some good upside because I think everyone's shook out that's going to be.
Yeah. And it's funny you say everybody who's capitulated or that was going to capitulate has. Andy this morning, I don't know if you saw it, was green on the day. And so it was green because, and this is definitely why it was, because there's no other explanation for it. Everybody that would have sold is literally gone. They're gone. So when they talk about sellers are exhausted, you ever see the meme with David Goggins? Sellers are exhausted, and then it's a picture of Goggins, like basically saying he's not done running. He's not exhausted, and.
Well, I saw over the weekend, it said, I think because Bitcoin tweeted it out, I think it was yesterday, they said in the past 24 hours, 228,554 traders were liquidated. Total liquidations coming in at $614 million.
Yep. So, and that's exactly what it was. It was, again, another liquidation event. Wick it down while everybody's asleep. Nobody's at the charts. It's illiquid right before the New York Open. That's just classic leverage trader death. They just fucking cook people. So What was I saying with Andy? Oh yeah, so Andy, it was green on the day. Why? Because everybody that would have sold Andy or Wolf they're gone. They're literally gone. Which, you're gonna hear it again, is so bullish because as soon as that price starts moving up again, what happens is this is market behavior. This is market psychology. When everybody capitulates and they sell, and there's literally no more sellers, obviously there's only going to be buyers at this point. Buyers are going to step in. They're going to start pushing the price up again as Ethereum starts moving up again. And then everybody that capitulated at the lows starts FOMOing back in as the price goes up. And that's where you see those parabolic blow off tops happen, is because you basically shake out everybody that you possibly could. They're still watching the price even though they sold the asset, because they're going to be like, well, did I sell the low, or is it going to still go back up? So it always happens. And then people FOMO back in and the shit just starts pumping again. So that's actually huge. I love that. So I was telling you before we got on the stream, I'm gonna buy again this week more Andy and Wolf, just because I know ETH at the worst case scenario goes to $6,000 or $7,000 before the summertime. It's like, all right, well then my bags are gonna at least do 6 to 8x worst case scenario. So I'm just gonna buy more. But anyway, you got anything else on that though?
Yeah, I mean, I think that before, whenever this was happening, we kept flushing people out of Andy and Wolf. To me, it was making me nervous because I was thinking in my head, like, these people who are getting burnt on these trades and are losing faith in the asset, like, they're just going to go away for the rest of the cycle. You think, okay, well, people get burnt. They're going to be exhausted from the asset. They're not going to want to be back into it because of what happened. It didn't work out for them the first time. But I think about to when I was not knowing at all what was happening in crypto last cycle, whenever I was investing in Dogecoin, I was thinking about it. It's like, well, I bought the high, or I bought it when it was up, then it pulled back a little bit. I sold it for a loss. And then even though I had gotten burned on it, I was still getting the notifications from Robinhood because I had invested in it previously saying Dogecoin's up 6%, Dogecoin's up 15%. And I'm like, oh shit. Then I'd ape back in and, it'd be the same cycle over and over and over again. So yeah, it's exactly what you said. Even though people got out of it and capitulated, they're still going to be watching it. They're still going to be getting the notifications from their investment account saying, hey, the price is up this much, the price is up this much. And once we start getting a few green days in a row, everyone's going to be coming back. So yeah, I think, again, like we've been saying, if you believe in Ethereum going up this cycle, at least above previous all-time highs, which would be pretty much back above 5,000, which, that move from where it's at now is like a 60% move just to get to previous all-time highs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think based off of how much World Liberty Financial was buying up the day before and the day of inauguration, if you don't believe in Ethereum going up, you're wrong.
Yep.
Trump's in the most powerful position possible to be able to positively or negatively influence the market. And if he's telling his investment company to buy $150 million plus of Ethereum, he's got something planned. So I'm going to trust that over my emotions and let it ride.
Exactly. Yeah. As soon as you look at it from a logical standpoint, you understand that it's going to go higher on a long enough time frame. You just got to be patient. Because just it's again another meme, but just as quick as it's so over, we're so back, right? It just takes 10% day on Ethereum for everybody to be like, oh, it's fucking pumping again, and then Boys Club starts going ape shit again. I mean, you saw it just even last week, the one relief bounce that we had on Ethereum. Andy and Wolf were both up 30% on the day. So, like I've said in the past, the reason that I'm so convicted on the Boys Club meta for my main conviction bags on Ethereum is because they trade exactly how they're supposed to trade. So I can rest easy at night knowing that I know when they're going to pump and I know when they're going to dump. So as long as Ethereum starts moving up again and starts pumping throughout this next, towards the end of Q1 and Q2, I know exactly how my bags are going to perform. Unlike Solana and assets on Solana, because a lot of people like to ape on Sol, you don't have that same type of confidence. You just have to know what the meta is right now and ape into that, and then obviously hit your couple of X's, get out, and go on to the next thing. It's very quick moving meta, very short attention span on that meta and Solana because the transactions are so quick, so low gas fees. Everybody's just cheating, moving around, which absolutely can be profitable because many people make a ton of money on Solana. I made a lot of money the one weekend with the inauguration, leading up to the inauguration with the Trump coins. That's great. But you can't hold anything on Sol long term with a high degree of confidence that it's going to move in unison with the Sol token itself or the rest of the market. It's not beta. So you're looking at it more from a like somebody who's on Sol. You have to be way more attentive to what's going on in the market, and you have to be way faster to move in and out of assets. You can't really hold things long term on Sol. ETH you can, right? Because you know how it's going to perform against the market. That's the confidence that you have in the boys club. So you got to look at that as a long-term positioning. Accumulate those bags, Andy, Wolf, Brett, Pepe. Let those sit for the rest of Q1, Q2. And then if you want to play in the trenches, you want to play on Sol, inter-month, inter-weekly with those positions, sure, do that. You can make money doing that. But ETH, I'm not fucking selling none of that shit, dude. I'm just buying more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think people kind of underestimate the value of investing in a beta, being able to kind of count on the performance of your coins based off of the performance of a major is just very valuable. It's very predictable, gives you some, yeah, just some conviction. If you believe in the major performing well, you know that your coins are going to perform well. And if it's not the right season for your coins to be doing well yet, then you can't say you're underperforming because it's just not the right time. So I know we talked about that a little bit last week, but I think so too, just with how many meme coins there are now and how many projects are out there. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of coins. It's very easy to get diluted, and there's going to be a lot of coins that don't perform well. I don't think this alt season is going to be similar to before, where it was kind of like the .com bubble, where there wasn't too many coins to where you could just kind of put your money in anything and you knew it was going to go up whenever everything else was going up during alt season. It's like now the market is very diluted because there's just so many projects that are out there. There's so many places to put your money.
Mm-hmm.
Now that base chain's gotten bigger, there's, base chain memes. There's a shit ton of coins on Solana. There's Ethereum memes. There's all kinds of stuff. And yeah, investing in a beta is so valuable, and also investing in a strong narrative that has a cult-like following that has a lot of attention already. Just the fact that Pepe is
Right.
as big as it is and has as much attention as it does, the rest of the boys club by default is going to get attention as people want to go further down the risk curve.
Right.
So yeah, it's all about if you believe in Ethereum, which Trump's given me the conviction that I need with
Right.
the buys that he made.
And the thing about crypto is everybody in crypto, whether they're normie or not normie, somebody who's native on chain, actually doing this shit every single day, everybody's consensus is that Pepe is the winner of this cycle. I've talked to multiple people that literally they do this shit every single day. They just trade crypto. They got big bags. They got millions and millions of dollars on Sol, on ETH. Everybody's knows Pepe is the winner. So that's not a question mark. That's just no. Pepe is the winner meme this cycle. That's the one that's going to run the highest. So why would you not place your biggest conviction in the beta tied to Pepe? If you know Pepe is going to outperform and it's going to go higher, why wouldn't you hold the beta? Why wouldn't you have exposure to it? Again, another reason for me to hold Andy and Wolf and continue to accumulate those, because Pepe on the high end, another 10 to 15x, just like that would be ideal. Well, if I know that Pepe could still pull another 10 to 15x just the same way it did last February in 2024, where it did a 10 to 15x, I believe it did like a 15x in February to March. If Pepe can still do another 10 to 15x, which it did just last year, why wouldn't I hold Andy and Wolf, which I know if Pepe does a 10 to a 15x, they'll do at least 20 to 30x. I'm going to accumulate it because I believe Pepe is going to go higher. As long as ETH moves, Pepe moves, so will the rest of them. So just to give these guys some perspective on a larger time frame, I'm going to share my screen for Bitcoin. We'll do, actually, let me do a little Mr. Producer real quick.
And I was going to say, while you're pulling that up,
Uh-huh.
the last thought I had for Pepe was in February, March last year, Pepe pulled a 10 to 15x without any tier one exchange listings. And I think that, tier one exchange listings, obviously now with Trump in office, are a lot more attainable.
Mm-hmm.
And exchanges are a lot more likely to list coins that are way smaller market cap than what they were willing to list before. Just with the, opening up of regulations, and things are a lot more friendly to do that. So, Brett, Andy, and Wolf, still none of them have any tier one listings at all.
Hmm.
So if Pepe was able to pull that kind of a move without any tier one attention, think about the kind of moves that these three coins are going to be able to pull with that additional catalyst of getting listed to Binance or getting listed to Coinbase or Robinhood or whatever it might be. And I think especially for Brett, I mean, it's the only top 10 by market cap meme coin that doesn't have a tier one listing. I think for that coin, it's pretty much inevitable. At least the Coinbase listing is going to happen here in the near future.
Hmm.
And from the size of coins we've seen also get listed, I can't imagine that Andy and Landwolf aren't going to get the same, especially once Pepe starts to run. These exchanges are going to want to capitalize on the volume happening on those two as well.
Exactly. Yeah, Pepe's going to do way more volume this time on this leg up. It has Robinhood, Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, everyone. Last cycle or last year, none of them. Okay, well, what do you think is going to happen this time? There's going to be people rushing into Pepe. So here's where we're at lower time frame on Bitcoin, just so you guys can see this. The range is still, playing out exactly how we have it drawn out. It's still respecting all the levels. There's nothing to be afraid about, nothing to be scared about. Again, we're at 99.5 thousand. So we had this wick down overnight and then early morning just to take out these leverage traders, liquidate a lot of people. It's classic scam wick. So super manipulated price down. 1, 2, 3 big 6-hour candles to the downside. And now we're just back within the range. So we're consolidating. Well, first we had this price action right on the inauguration, which was so scammy. Just every single time the market tried to pump because everybody was super bullish based off of what Trump was doing, they kept cheating it every single time. Super scammy. Then we started consolidating right above the range. They nuked us back in here. We front ran it barely, but again, it's respecting the range. So we came back down to the mid range at about 97.7. Mid range is about 97.5. So just right about the mid range. Get this nice little buyback, and then we're coming back down towards this mid range. So what's going to happen going into February is going to be something like this, where we just start ranging again in here before we get the breakout in February. And the reason I don't think we're going to get any kind of movement until we move into February is because we have billions of dollars of calls on Bitcoin that are still open, and they're going to expire January 31st. So they're going to want to push this over into February so they don't have to pay out on all those calls that they have on Bitcoin, and then start moving us up in February, which is what we saw in 2024. Same thing with ETH. So on a higher time frame, just because you don't want to get lost in the, lower time frame price action, because this right here is all super mind. It just pulls out all the emotions out of you because you can't get any trending. It's just up and then down, up and then down, up and then down. You got to look at it on the larger time frame. So if we go on to, let's say, the weekly, okay, and just look at where we're at cycle wise, we're still fine, okay? So people who think we're coming down lower, incorrect. We had this breakout from the 7 to 8 month range here from last year, right? So bear market during 2022, 2023, we start trending up. We get this first breakout in early 2024, like we were talking about, right in February. See, first week of February, we get this breakout. That's probably what's going to happen again this coming February. We finally get the breakout up into March, and then we start ranging for those 8 months, okay? November, we get this breakout, this gap up into this new range that we're creating up here. This is just a temporary pause until we get that next pump up higher. So if we want to look at some targets for Bitcoin, let's throw it in log. The way that I know a lot of competent traders are looking at this, and the way I'm looking at it as well, is Bitcoin essentially was just in a massive reaccumulation range for the last 4 years. So if we take the top from right here to the bottom, look at how nicely this plays out, okay? So we got our top of the range, we got our mid range where we're getting interaction with this. Then we come back up, we reject off the top of the range, and we basically reaccumulate right above the previous all-time, or right below the previous all-time high, and then we finally break out of the range. The first higher time frame fib on Bitcoin, make sure this is in log, is 173,000. So that would be the first local top or potentially cycle top I would expect on Bitcoin. So people are worried about what's going on. Oh, it's at 95K. Oh, it's at 105K. Oh, it's back down to 98K. Doesn't really matter to me. Doesn't really matter to Logan. The cycle, the first top I could potentially see for Bitcoin is going to be about 173,000, as long as if we respect this 1.618. Now, we could front run it a little bit, maybe top out like 160, 165. We might even overshoot it a little bit and go towards 200K. But this isn't done right here. We just broke out of a 4-year range on Bitcoin. You don't break out of a 4-year range on an asset and then come up, you know what? What's the price change on this?
20%.
Yeah, you don't get a 20% move from the previous all-time high. So if we go from here to, what do we top out at, like 108? So whoops.
I get, yeah, to the high.
Yeah, like 108 was the high. So 57% move off of the previous all-time high. It's like, it's not done. It's not going to do a 50%, because from the last cycle, from the low, if you want to see what the previous all-time high was, previous all-time high on Bitcoin was about what, 19? It did a 3.5x. So you think we're going to do a 3.5x from the previous all-time high in 2017 to 2021, and then this cycle we only go up 50%? It's like, no. Even if you want to say that the law of diminishing returns applies in this scenario, which it potentially couldn't, because it's not a meme, it is real. Diminishing returns is real. But we truly do have a catalyst cycle of major adoption from institutions and countries. So it could go higher this cycle compared to last. But point being is, even if you want to say law of diminishing returns, fine. So it did 3.5x last cycle from the previous all-time high. So, okay, what if it only does 2.5x? 2x. 2x, I would say, would be the absolute bare minimum that you would get off something like this. So if you do 2x, it means we're still going up to 140, right? If we went up to the first fib, you're at, 2.5x. So that, to me, makes way more sense. You get to that 1.618, 173,000, you do a 2.5x, as opposed to the last cycle we did 3.5x, and that's with law of diminishing returns playing into it too. So again, longer time frame, you're not worried about this if you're looking at this range from a higher time frame, because you know where the asset's gonna go for the rest of this cycle, right? You got anything on that, Bees? What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, Bitcoin definitely still has a lot of room to grow this cycle for sure. And I think as far as what you were saying about as quickly as it's so over, it's so back, you know, I think first week of January following the 2025 Open, we pulled back to like 91,000, which is funny because everyone thought it was over at that point. It's like Bitcoin's still above 90K and people are thinking that it's completely over. Whenever, 2 months before that, we were at 70,000. No one was saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
So then you see, a week later, going into the inauguration, we're back up at 109, almost 110,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back at all-time highs, back in price discovery for Bitcoin within a week of everyone thinking it's over. So, yeah, I mean, if you put it back on like the 6 hour.
Real quick, I'll mention this too. This was the 8-month range that we were in. We went from 73,000 all the way down to 49,000, and still came all the way up to 108K. So if this wasn't over and we still moved up, then what makes you think that literally this little price action up here means it's over? No, dude, look at this massive breakout. We're just doing a quick reaccumulation, quick pause. Next month, we should start pumping again. But you said 6 hour?
Yeah, if you put it back on the 6 hour.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, the 13th, 14th right there in that bear trap. I mean, we pulled back to, sub 90.
Yeah.
So we're back down to 89,000. Everyone's freaking out thinking that it's completely over. And then 10 days later, even less, about a week later on the inauguration, we're back up to almost 110,000. So it's like we got a $21,000, just about $20,000 move on Bitcoin in 8 days. It's like the amount of money that it takes to move the Bitcoin chart is insane. And we're able to get that kind of a move in less, just over a week with some positive news. And it's like, honestly, you can tell from the chart, like you were saying, it's heavily manipulated. So we would have gotten a move way fucking higher than that
Yes.
around the time of the inauguration. And then also, too, around the news of the Bitcoin reserve getting approved, that's officially going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This chart would have been flying if it wasn't getting suppressed intentionally. Um, so yeah, it's like this stuff, you love the volatility. We keep saying it. You love the volatility to the upside. You got to be able to handle it to the downside. But it's just like if a chart like Bitcoin can recover and move that much in such a short period of time, your altcoins, as quickly as you think it's down 60, 70% and it's all over, takes 3, 4 days of good price action, of a positive sentiment around Ethereum for everything to be back. And that's why it doesn't make sense to try and get out, get back in, get out, get back in, because all it takes is a few days of positive price action. You missed out on 3, 4x.
Exactly.
It happens that quickly. Like you brought it up about Andy and Landwolf last week. We had, a 5, 6% move to the upside on Ethereum. Both those coins were up 30% on the daily. So it's like if you took profits and you were waiting to get an entry back in those coins, you went to bed that night, you woke up, you missed out on the 30% move.
Yep.
So DCAing is great right now, but trying to take profits and then re-enter and exit and re-enter and exit, you're just going to get torched.
Yeah, you're gonna get annihilated. This is why you have to play things on a higher time frame. And again, like we're saying right now, this is when you accumulate. Because in the summertime, okay, when Andy and Wolf drew down to about $15 million market cap at the lows. Andy was at about $60 million market cap at the lows. Guess what we were doing? Accumulating Andy and Wolf. And then what happened? They both ran to 200 million plus. We were up 10, 15x off the lows. That's how you make money. Did we sell? Did we cheat? No, because we know they're going to go even higher than that. Now, did we round trip a lot this last couple of months, these last 2 months coming back down? Yeah, but we didn't come back down to the lows though, right? So Andy and Wolf maintained higher market caps than they did during the summertime lows. What does that mean? It means they're gaining more value against Ethereum. So as Ethereum continues to pump, these assets are going to go to new all-time highs because compared to Ethereum, they're worth more money. So yeah, I mean, we still are up. We're still in the profit because we got it off the lows. Now, for somebody who's newer trying to accumulate these positions, this is your opportunity to do so right before Ethereum and Bitcoin start going crazy again in February and March. These are going to be the lows. These are going to be looked at as the lows for Andy and Wolf before they go to billions. Because right now they're at about 100 million and a sub 100 million on Wolf. 1 billion is a 10x from here. You accumulate now. When ETH starts running, these are going to go to multi-billion-dollar market caps, and they're going to get on major exchanges. Because major exchanges are listing shit at like 500 mil now, which is ridiculous. But yeah, these will get listed. But real quick, just to show the manipulation on Bitcoin and why I'm bullish on it still, is because you see how huge these volume spikes are whenever they make these scam moves. So look at this scam wick on the 6 hour. Drew it all the way down to 91K to liquidate any leverage traders. And then it pumped all the way back up to 97,000 within the matter of minutes. So look at the volume on that. Huge volume. Over here during the inauguration, right? The day of the inauguration, Monday the 20th, January 20th, Bitcoin starts pumping hard as shit because everybody's buying it. Okay, volume's coming in. Then look at this massive candle of volume. To what? To the downside. Because market makers are trying to suppress price. They don't want a breakout they don't want to break out too early because they're still accumulating. So you get this massive volume candle. They G it all the way back down. Buyers step back in. They try to buy and push the price back up. And then look at this super manipulated twop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red candles in a row. Super manipulated back to the downside. And then guess what happens again? One green candle. Boom. Because buyers step back in. They send it back down, right, with this volume. Send it back down. Same thing here. Volume picking up again, cheating it to the downside. So this is just heavy manipulation on the majors right now, so that big players can accumulate positions before they end up sending up higher, because they don't want it to go higher before they're ready. So that's local time frame. Let me just look at one other thing on BTC, just so people can see it. If you look at like RSI, we'll look at on Williams percent and RSI. I was looking at these too. So even on these lower time frames, the RSI is almost bottomed down here. This Williams percent's also towards the lows, so we should get a little bounce coming into the end of this week. If we look at on a higher time frame, like the daily, so now on the daily, we could definitely come down lower on RSI. So it's not completely oversold yet. We could come back down in here, which would probably bring us down back to about 97, may even break a little bit further down to 94 or 95K. But those are just some indicators on lower time frames. Let's see on the higher. So these are pretty towards the top on the weekly time frame. So yeah, so I mean, we could get another little bleed towards the end of this month and then into the first week of next month, but outside of that, I mean, it's going to start picking back up on the lower time frames.
Did I hear correctly that they were trying to approve ETFs on the Trump coin?
They submitted it. So yeah, they're going to try to get them approved. Hilarious.
Yeah, so what's the market cap right now on Trump coin?
Market cap, let's see if I can see it on TradingView. Let's see, do they have market cap? Spots. No, I don't think they have
If
it.
you search it, if you type in market cap, does it come up?
One second. Who the hell just called me? Hilarious. They're in shambles. Look it up where?
If you search Trump market cap, does it come up?
No, they don't have it. It's fine. I'll look it up
No.
on CoinGecko real quick.
Yeah, because I'm just curious where it's at relative to the size of Pepe.
I gotta change the screen capture real quick. Let's see. Mr. Producer. All right, go over here. We'll go to this one right here. And then let me pull up.
So I'm showing that right now it's at 5.3 billion.
Okay. And Pepe's at what?
Pepe currently is at 5.3 billion.
5.3.
Yeah, Pepe got kind of rocked this morning.
Please, this window may be away from shared application. What the hell does that mean? Done. And then get back to Zoom. Oops. How the fuck do I get back to Zoom? Oh, hold on. I'm just pulling up CoinGecko.
Yeah, so Pepe right now, I mean, Pepe got rocked this morning. It's down like 16% on the 24-hour chart right now. So Pepe right now is about the same exact size as the Trump coin.
Wow, look at that. Wow.
Yeah, so if they're approving ETFs for the Trump coin, I mean, if they approve ETFs or even make an effort to push them through for Pepe, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna start they sent one for Doge, they sent one for Solana, they sent one for XRP, a couple of different companies. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too. Once they start approving these ETFs and you get all of that liquidity from boomers, from TradFi, etc., it's just gonna be a wealth effect across the entire sphere. Because even if it's not your asset that gets approved for an ETF, that's fine. But the wealth effect that's going to occur from that asset appreciating is going to benefit your altcoin. Because like you said, if official Trump gets an ETF, well, what's going to be the speculation after the initial hype off of the official Trump ETF? Oh, well, Pepe's probably next. So what's everybody going to do? They're going to start buying Pepe leading up into an approval for a Pepe ETF, and then you're going to get a Pepe pump. It's going to be the same thing. So it's just going to go down the risk curve. But let's see. What else is
So
out here?
funny how all the charts look identical.
Oh, yeah. On the right-hand side.
Last 7 days. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Market manipulation, baby. There it is. Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Tether. Well, that's fucking Tether. That doesn't mean anything. But yeah, Solana, BNB, still the same exact chart on all majors. Study crime. Dogecoin, same thing. Cardano, same thing. Fucking Tron, effectively the same thing. Chainlink, everything. It's all the same fucking chart. Same shit. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's nothing to be... there's genuinely nothing to be worried about in the sense of whether or not we go higher. That's pretty obvious that we go higher. It's just making sure you're positioning correctly and not being emotional and cheating your positions before the time comes. Like, there's nothing to be... Yeah, you can't be emotional. These are financial markets. If you think with your emotions and you allow your emotions to get to the best of you, then you're always going to lose. It's the same thing in sales. It's the same thing in business. If you start being emotional, you're going to lose. There's no place for emotions in markets. If you can't handle the volatility in crypto and it's too emotional for you, then don't trade crypto. Then like get out. Go buy the S&P 500 and then get your 5 to 10% every year. It's like you've got to mentally prepare yourself for what you're getting yourself into. The reason there's generational gains in crypto is because it's so volatile. So guess what? There's going to be volatility to both sides, to the downside and to the upside, right? If you can't emotionally handle the swings, get out of crypto. Go, like I said, go buy the S&P. You can the S&P will treat you very nice over a long enough time frame. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think I think too, if you pictured that the legacy markets were structured the same way as crypto is, where say the market cap of Nvidia made up 60%, well, whatever Bitcoin dominance is at right now, somewhere between 50 and 60%, if I had to take a guess. Imagine that Nvidia had that kind of dominance in the legacy markets where it made up 50 to 60% of the entire legacy market. And something like the DeepSeek news that came out over the weekend came out about Nvidia, and Nvidia made up 50 to 60% of the legacy markets. It would be so easy for market makers to manipulate the price of everything across the entire asset class because it's so heavily determined by one single asset, which is exactly what you see in crypto. Like Bitcoin makes up 50 to 60% of the market. And if you have a small group of people that can heavily manipulate the price of what Bitcoin's going to do, you're gonna have a market that is extremely volatile and is extremely easy to manipulate by a small group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like it's good and bad because, like you said, you can see it to the upside and you can see it to the downside. But with legacy markets, you see even today, like the news that came out about DeepSeek and the effect that it had on NVIDIA is about a 15% move. Even though NVIDIA doesn't make up near the amount of the legacy markets as Bitcoin does of crypto, still had a huge impact across all the prices of everything in the legacy markets.
Mm-hmm.
So even with that much less of an impact, it's still affecting price action that much. You can imagine what the price of Bitcoin does to crypto. It's insane because it makes up more than half the market. So,
and here's the other catalyst too, why everybody's worried about the lower time frames. The dollar looks like it has topped, right? Which is hugely bullish for risk assets. Well, why? Well, because everything is a pair trade at the end of the day. Everything that you're trading is just a pair trade. The reason an asset goes up in value is because that asset denominated in dollars is going up, right? So if the US dollar, because everything is denominated in USD, if you're just looking at it from a pure dollar perspective, if the price of the US dollar, if the value of the US dollar is going up, that means that your denominator in your pair trade is getting larger. Well, in a fraction, if your denominator is larger, isn't that fraction a smaller number? Correct?
see,
Yeah. So that's how it works with the US dollar. So if the value of the US dollar is going up, then your asset is technically losing value compared to the US dollar because the denominator is larger. So as the US dollar starts to depreciate and that number in the numerator becomes smaller, your asset goes up in value. That's how it works, right? It's a pair trade. So we want the US dollar to start losing value because that means it's risk on for assets. Okay. That means people are going to start rotating their money from bonds to get those yields, start to rotate that back into risk assets and pump our bags. So we see here on the US dollar, it looks like it's topped. It had this little blow off top right here. Okay. Right around a week before the inauguration. Inauguration week, Monday the 20th, we get this big nuke right here on the dollar. Okay. Now we got right back into this demand zone, which is why you see it reacting right here. We might consolidate right up in here. We might get a quick little bounce right up into here, but then eventually this is going to nuke. And once we lose this demand zone, we're going to nuke back into this region right here, these lows. Okay, we're going to sweep these lows. When that happens, that's going to be huge for our assets. So that's another catalyst that you got to keep in mind. The US dollar looks topped. This thing starts bleeding down into here where we were at back in September 24, back in July 23. That's bullish. That's fucking huge. Okay, so we want the dollar to start nuking. Because if you look at it on a lower time frame, I mean, it looks super heavy, right? So it's starting to lose market structure. So we got to get back down into here. So you could even say the next like little demand zone would be down in here, right? Get it to bleed down into here. And then once we lose this demand, you're coming down here. Maybe get some price action down in here. Okay. And then the next one would be down in here. Right. So we want to lose these levels. So as this dollar comes down, all of our assets are going to appreciate. It's going to be risk on. On top of that, the reason crypto is down this morning because of that deep fake, deep fucking C, whatever the fuck they're doing, AI shit in China, Nvidia and legacy markets had also come down. So let's look up Nvidia real quick. So what happened today is not crypto related. This is legacy market related. So we have this fucking nuke off the open where Nvidia started, up here, and then we gapped all the way down here, which is a huge nuke for something in legacy markets. Yeah, almost 20 fucking percent. That's a big nuke. So people are spooked out because of that as well, because Nvidia has been leading the risk assets this whole cycle. Not the whole cycle, but for the last couple of years now. So when they saw Nvidia nuke, the rest of the market started to de-risk as well. Now, is it over for Nvidia? No. I mean, it's not going to be. It might have reached the peak of its parabola and we kind of bull chop higher for the next couple of months, but it's not going to nuke. It's not done. So as long as Nvidia hasn't topped, we're fine with these markets as well. You got anything on that though?
No, I mean, I think it's just a scam.
Yeah, for sure.
And I definitely don't think it's crypto related. I mean, I think it's just a distraction. So,
And here's our fantastic Bitcoin Nvidia chart that I want to remind you guys of as well. That's a great indicator for cycle tops. Anytime this BTC Nvidia chart has a blow off top, that signifies a top on Bitcoin as well, right? Well, good news is this chart has not had a blow off top yet this cycle, which means Bitcoin is not topped, right? So I'll show you some confluence on this. So if we add BTC down below, oops, give me this on a new panel. Bombaclat. Hold on, let me undo that. Motherfucker. I gotta get this on a new pane.
can you just hit back and then?
There we go. Beautiful. Okay, here we go. Now let's get BTC on here. New pane. There we go. So this chart is huge to be able to tell when there's tops on Bitcoin. So when you see, let's put this in a log just to make it a little bit easier to see. So when you see these blow off tops on this Bitcoin Nvidia pair, this is whenever you see tops on Bitcoin. So this thing pumps right here because Bitcoin outperformed Nvidia, and it gets this blow off top, meaning that risk assets, they're rotating into risk. Look at that. It called the perfect Pico top for Bitcoin back in 2017. The next blow off top was over here in 2019, excuse me. That was a local top for Bitcoin. This blow off top, boom, guess what? There's the top for Bitcoin, okay, right in March of 2021, right? So that was last cycle. Put it even like right here. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Good, right? So now, right, we called the top 3 times beautifully. Now we die for the last 4 years. Nvidia's outperforming Bitcoin. This chart bleeds. We've had no parabolic move on this chart. So if we haven't had a parabolic move on this chart yet, well, do you think we're topped yet for Bitcoin? No, we're not. So this is another nice piece of confluence that you can look at and say, oh shit, okay. Well, BTC is right here. BTC has not at all outperformed Nvidia in the last 4 years. Then we're good. We're fine. Once Nvidia tops, that's a signal that the stock market and legacy markets are topping and distributing. And what happens is all that liquidity, all that money, that profit taking is going to go ahead and rotate down the risk curve, which means what? They're going to go into IWM, which are low cap stocks, and they're going to rotate into crypto. So when all that money, that profit taking happens because the stock market is topped and they rotate down into crypto, that's whenever you see this Bitcoin Nvidia chart start to pump hard because Nvidia is no longer moving higher. Bitcoin is pumping hard as shit. And once you get this blow off top up in here, just like you had 1, 2, 3 other blow off tops, then you can say, all right, Bitcoin's probably topped here. We just had that blow off. Let me de-risk. Let me get the fuck out of the market. That has not happened at all yet. At all. Zero. It's not even, it hasn't made any kind of move up higher. It's been in a downtrend for the past 4 years. So again, you look at this and I say, well, we're not topped then. The stock market's still moving higher until Bitcoin and crypto starts to outperform the alpha. If the alpha is still outperforming the beta, market is not topped. Once the beta starts to outperform the alpha, that's when you look for the door. That's when you look for the exit. We haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know you've been keeping an eye on this indicator the entire cycle. So, yeah, I mean, it does look like it's pretty much bottomed on the Bitcoin to Nvidia chart to me. So, I mean, I think, yeah, the time is now. I think first week of February, like you said, once these positions get closed out, at the end of January, I think first to second week of February, we're going to see some moves very similar to what we saw beginning of February 2024. And yeah, I think Bitcoin, like I think that log fib that you put on Bitcoin for next target around 170,000.
Right.
I think that's a super good level to look for. And I think it's good too to have actual fib confluence that you're looking for, not just some imaginary price target that sounds good. A lot of people get caught up in, oh, Bitcoin to 100K, Bitcoin to 200K, but they have no justification for that price target. It just sounds good.
Right.
So I think the fact that the fibs actually point to 170 and based off this chart looking pretty much bottomed and how good of an indicator it's been, not just one time, not just twice, but 3 times at least in the past. Yeah, I mean, I think too, like Nvidia is kind of been the legacy market's exposure to AI, and AI and crypto have kind of gone hand in hand with just like the same types of people that invest in AI are also very interested in investing in crypto. Trump has placed a big priority, not just on crypto, but also on AI development as well. So I think that if NVIDIA and Bitcoin were showing confluence and were interacting in the past, this cycle, more than ever, they should be interacting with each other. And this pair trade should be playing out even more accurately than it did in the past. So I think, yeah, seeing over the next few months, like into March and April, Bitcoin pushing for 170K, completely outperforming NVIDIA, and this chart being able to call a cycle top again is very likely. So
exactly, we're just looking for this parabola right here. See this thing fucking shoot up right up into here? Good. Bitcoin's topped. And here's the other thing too. Bitcoin topping and then starting to redistribute is what we want to see for our altcoins. So after Bitcoin tops, people start taking their profits, they start rotating. That's when we see our altcoins go absolutely stupid. So this we'll call a Bitcoin top, and then shortly thereafter, for the next about month, probably like about 4 to 6 weeks, that's when you see the altcoin fucking pump. So we'll be keeping our eyes on this. Again, look at this. This is data. This is what you guys have to get used to doing, is look at data. Data is what's going to get you through these, bleeds, this market manipulation, etc. Because data is not emotion driven. Data is analytics driven. If you know what the analytics are, if you know what the data is, and you have multiple points of confluence that show you that this is not a cycle top, we're not where we're going to be at in 4 to 6 months yet, then you're not going to be emotional day to day for the price action. Yeah, it sucks to see your portfolio bleed, but that is what it is. That's just how markets work. It's not going to be up only forever. If it was up only forever, guess what? Everybody would make money. But that's not how life works. Okay? Yeah, it don't work like that, player.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the market makers have done a fantastic job of exhausting people. We were talking about it on the last stream that as far as Ethereum goes, especially, it seems a lot worse than it is because most of the people watching this stream, ourselves included, we're further down the risk curve, obviously, than majors. So it's like Ethereum, it seems really bad because our altcoins just continue to bleed forever, like just continuously bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. But, if you look at the Ethereum chart, yeah, this morning we broke below range lows a little bit. It seems to be holding here, and I think this is a really important level to hold, holding above 3,000, even with the scam news over the weekend. I think it's still, there's still critical levels that need to be supported and held. But, as long as we're holding 3,000, it's like Ethereum's pretty much just been ranging for almost 2 months.
Yeah.
So it seems really bad because our altcoins have gotten destroyed. But as far as the major goes, that's going to determine the performance of the altcoins here over the next few months. It's really not doing a whole lot. It's just been kind of ranging for a couple months. So it's more boring than anything. The market makers are doing a great job of exhausting people. But like we said at the beginning of the stream, I think pretty much everybody that's capitulated in the altcoins that we're holding, with the exception of Pepe, just because Pepe is very liquid. There's a ton of holders. It has a lot of exposure already. It's hard to say what that coin's going to do. But as far as like Andy and Wolf, especially, that have a smaller holder base, the people who have sold have sold. So I really can't see us going much lower than where we're at right now. But as far as the upside and the amount of investors that there are that can get back into the asset over the next couple months is untapped. I mean, it's insane. So,
yep, exactly. We're just not even really moving on ETH. It's just altcoins. So if you look at ETH, the same thing we were saying about Bitcoin, the last thing we'll do before we get out of here is this also has effectively been in a huge range for the past 4 years. So when ETH, because ETH hasn't even broken out of the range. Bitcoin finally did. But when ETH finally breaks out of this range right here, if you don't think we're about to fucking fly, you're out of your mind, right? And I'm not going to show you the price targets for ETH because you got to be inside the Taylor's code for that, inside the private crypto play, so you know when we're actually going to be selling and taking profits on our altcoins. But just know that these fibs that I just drew on ETH are going to go much higher, okay? So we haven't even touched the previous all-time high on ETH. Just wait until they're done accumulating this asset and they allow it to fucking pump. This shit's going to pump hard because everybody's going to start chasing. The sentiment is terrible around Ethereum. And that's what you want. For an asset that is literally right here and has barely been moving on the larger time frame and people are losing their minds over it, that's super bullish. If everybody was losing their minds because ETH was doing this, be like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's over for sure. We're fucked. ETH has been trading right here for the past couple of months since November, and people are losing their minds. The price has barely changed. It's been between 4,000 and 3,000 for the past 3 months. So it's good. That's bullish. Like, we're not breaking down, but people are losing their minds. Bullish. So outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, there's There's your cope session right there. There's your hopium, you know, injection, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we're fine. Everything's good. Anything else you got for him, bees?
Um, no, I mean, outside of, I don't know if you want to talk about what's to come for Taylor's code, the transition that's going to be happening.
Yes. So everybody that's inside right now. Okay, so first of all, like, comment, subscribe to the stream. We gave you the free juice. We gave you basically larger term targets for crypto, abilities to make money. Like, comment, subscribe to the stream. Just do something to show us a little bit of support for giving you guys some juice. Second thing, the link in the description is for the Taylor's Code. This is our private network organization where we're building multiple facets to be able to make money, including crypto, obviously, because of this stream. Those of you that are inside the Taylor's Code and those of you that join now before we hit a few more members, you're going to be grandfathered in at the current membership, okay? Once we get a few more people to join at the current membership, we're going to transition over to the Discord where we're going to start doing everything through Discord and have a private Discord server. At that point, if you're not already grandfathered in from joining now, the subscription is going to go much higher because we're going to be providing a lot more value and a lot more resources in the Discord. So I encourage you to join now. We're going to transition over to the Discord. I'm going to continue to run the crypto portion, the private crypto plays. Logan has a fitness campus inside that he'll talk about a little bit here in a second, where he's going to be doing everything from mind, body, spirit. So not just, training for triathlons, Ironmans, whatever it is you want to do, but doing calls, for example, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm sure you'll do some prayers with the guys on Sundays, things like that. So mind, body, spirit. We have Bobby inside who's going to have the e-commerce campus. So he's going to teach you how to build e-commerce stores, literally build an income from a store online so that you can use that to invest into crypto, to invest in the lifestyle that you want to have. Any fast sales campus, I'll have a sales campus. So different ways to make money and then be a part of a network and organization where everybody's making money, getting rich, and therefore we can go ahead and not manipulate, but we can move markets together. We can grow as an organization together. As everybody has more success in the network, everybody else makes more money. So that transition is going to happen here in the next week or two. Again, I encourage you to join now so you can get grandfathered in at the current subscription, because after that, it's going to double, triple for the membership. So business is speed.
Yeah. And I mean, you sent me over the pricing chart through Stripe, what we're going to have set up for the Discord. So, the mentioning that the membership cost is going to go up. It's not just an urgency tactic. It's not just trying to get you guys to rush into join in the community before the price goes up. The price is going to go up. It's not a joke. It's not a bluff. It's not like these guys that say, "Oh, 3 more people before the price goes up to whatever." No, it is going to happen. Yeah. It's going to happen here in the next few weeks. So, as far as my section and what I really want to contribute, Priamo, he hit the nail on the head pretty much. It's going to be a big focus on fitness, and fitness, finance, and faith are going to be the primary focuses of it. Finance is going to be the focus throughout the entire Discord community. I want to help people build a foundation in fitness and faith as well. I think that those are 2 extremely important foundations for being able to experience success in life. There are 2 aspects of my life that have made a massive, massive difference over the past few years. So I know that, both of those foundations, they can be a little bit intimidating to get into if you don't know where to start, you don't really know anything. So I want to help people at all different skill levels. I want to help people who maybe already have a foundation in both be able to take it to the next level, or just be able to give the people the confidence to get started. And so whether you're at ground zero, you've never picked up a weight in your life, you've never opened up the Bible before, I want to be able to help you get started in the right direction, feel like you're applying your time and effort and everything else in the right way. Or if you already have experience, maybe you've been working out for years, but, maybe you want to start training for endurance events. You want to start maybe doing triathlons or Ironmans or ultra marathons, whatever it might be. I want to help you be able to take it to that next level. And then with your faith too, I want it to be collaborative and be able to hear perspectives of a lot of different people and just give people an outlet that's a little bit different than, maybe the standard church experience that a lot of people are familiar with, because churches nowadays, a lot of them are going in a direction that I don't really agree with. They're focusing more on politics and gender and sexuality and all this different stuff. And, if that's not something that you resonate with, I want to make sure you guys have a community of people that you can have as an outlet to, be able to build your faith in the way that suits you best. So, yeah, it's all going to be coming on the Discord here in the next few months. And yeah, just getting started.
It's going to be huge. I love it. I'm super excited that you're doing that because it is. Fitness is, I mean, obviously you're much more educated and competent at the training for triathlons, marathons, etc. But I understand that fitness is such a huge, important part of my life too, that you can't be missing that piece. You can't have money but have poor health. It doesn't mean anything. What's it mean to be rich and then be bedridden, right? So having good, and then of course the most important, faith. So if you have no faith, if you have no moral structure, if you don't have a community that you can practice with, it doesn't. It's like what's the point of having money? So I think it's huge. It's going to be a huge thing to have as a part of the Discord. So if you guys are not already inside, join as quickly as humanly possible. We'll get you guys started. We'll get this transition over to the Discord over the next couple of weeks, and we're going to continue to grow. Every single week, you guys see we're growing, we're building, we're developing. We just have to be disciplined through the difficult times in the markets and whatever it is that you're trying to do for yourself in your personal life. And eventually, it'll all come together. It's going to happen. So let's go fucking win, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let me go ahead and do a little Mr. Producer.
Good night.
Yeah. Oh. Good night, motherfuckers. Let's see. Hold on a second.